When some of you want to draw out your brow, this is what you do. Then you now still have the audacity to add highlighter. Is this beautiful to you? No. Is this beautiful to you? Like you're rocking this kind of brow in 2024. Make that 2025, because in less than 2 months, it's going to be 2025 and you are still wearing this type of brow. I feel like, but you know what? I'm a good sister, so I'm going to teach you the right way. Now, draw up your chair and let's do this. Getting your brow correctly is the first step to achieving a perfect makeup. The brow is like the center of your makeup. It will determine how the general outlook of your makeup will be like. You know, there is a way you draw out your brow, your face will look, or it will appear slimmer to your onlooker, and there's a way you draw out your brow and your face will appear shorter. Maybe some other time we'll get into it. Now, when you want to draw out your brow, as a beginner, it's always advisable that you go to a professional to groom your brow for you. This is because you need your brows to be properly groomed so that it will be easy for you to draw it out. Now, if you use your own brow to do some amateur things, it may be difficult for you to achieve a perfect makeup with that. So I will always advise you, get somebody to do it for you. But if you still want to learn how to groom your brow, when I say groom now, I mean how to shave, because layman term, how to shave, but it's not shaving. Shaving means you're removing the entire hair from your brow, and that's not what we are doing. Grooming means you are putting your brow hairs in place in a way that is going to be beautiful. So in makeup parlors, we don't use shave, we use groom. So now, if you want to really achieve a good brow, get somebody to groom your brow for you, so that when you want to draw it out, it's easy for you. I think in Nigeria, you can get to do that around 500 to 1,000 naira. I don't know how it is someplace else, but like I said, if it's something you guys need, I would later do a tutorial on that. For today, we are just talking of brow definition and drawing out. Things you're going to be needing: you're going to be needing your eye pencil, the number 18. Any eye pencil you can lay your hands on, but let it be number 18 or number 3. It basically works. Then you have your brow tamer. This is my cheek brow tamer, and of course this is your spoolie or your mascara wand. To apply my concealer, like to define my brow, I always use either this brush or this angular brush, this eyeshadow brush. This is supposed to be an eyeshadow brush, right? Or this angular brush, but I prefer using this because it's easier and it's faster for me. So any brush that you see that is tempered like this, you can basically work. Next, you're going to be needing your setting powder. If you don't have a setting powder, you can basically just use your normal white powder for this part. Last but not the least is your concealer. This is my Ferrero-Rocher concealer, and I basically have this because I'm a makeup artist. I'm always working on different clients, but if you cannot lay your hands on this because it's expensive, you can simply just get your normal Pro Conceal. This is your Pro Conceal. Now, to draw out your brow, you need to take note of different things. One is where your brow should start from. Where would you want it to begin? Where should it start from? You need to identify that. Then you need to identify where your brow should end, the end of your brow. Where should it end? Then your arc, which is the highest point of your brow, you need to identify that. You also need to note that some brows are naturally unequal. Like me, I have naturally unequal brows, which means that one of my brows, this particular one, is always wildly, it's always going higher than the other, but I always find a way to make it work. And last but not the least, you need to know that your brows are sisters, they are not twin, which means that it's perfectly okay for your brows not to be perfectly the same. You will try your best to make it look like the same, but if it is not the same, it is still okay. Your face naturally is not equal, so I don't see the reason why you need to beat yourself to make your brow perfectly equal. So if your brows are not perfectly equal, it is okay. As long as they look alike, you're good to go, right? That does not mean that you now come and do one to be going down and the other one will be going up to see. No, try as much as possible to make sure that they are looking alike, but don't beat yourself up if they are not looking perfectly alike. That's my point. Okay, now let's identify the beginning of the brow, the end of the brow, and our arc, right? Make sure that whatever you're doing with your brow, your pencil is well sharpened. Now, this is how you identify the beginning of your brow, and then this is the end of your brow here. You can use this place here, right, to mark it. You can use this place to mark it. Then you now need to find out your arc. You now need to find out your arc. This is your arc. This is your arc. Sometimes there's this holo on your face, you can use to identify it also. So this is your arc, right? Now that you've known the beginning of your brow, the end of your brow, and then your arc, let's now draw without this. The only thing you need to basically keep in mind when you want to draw out your brow is your arc, where your arc is, because if you don't identify where your arc is, you'll probably not get your brow totally right. So first things first, we're going to put our brow tamer, right? We're going to put our brow tamer. If you don't have a brow tamer and you have an edge control, that can work, right? So this is basically do something like this, right? So that everything, do something like this first before you now arrange it, so that it gets to every nook and cranny of your brow, right? If you go ahead to just draw this without using your setting powder, it's going to be slippery for you and it may not come out right. So we're going to use our setting powder to set what we just did now. So this is my setting powder. I'm simply just going to do right, and I said that in case you do not have your setting powder, you can simply just use a white powder. This is just to set your brow. So now that we've done that, let's now draw it out. So you're going to do this. Take your hand straight. Keep your hand straight. I told you your pencil should be well sharpened, and when you are doing anything with makeup, your hand needs to be light-handed. It is called makeup artistry, not makeup drawing. So an artist, you know the way an artist works, your hand needs to be very, very light. You're using light strokes. You're not doing, okay? So take your hand straight for your arc. You know we identified our arc to be here, right? Right? So we're gonna take your hand straight for your. When you get to your arc, you're now going to do a C-like stuff. Now when you get to this point, this is what some persons do. I'm just going to use this. When they get to the arc, they now come in. That is totally wrong. Okay, you don't come in, you go out. So we're going to take, when you do the small C, you will now take your hand, you take your hand out, you take your hand out, okay? And that's that. I'm going to sharpen the pencil again because it's blunt. So back again. We're going to do the upper part like this. Depends on how fat you like your brow. You can make it thinner. The same thing you did for the down. You're going to take your hand straight to your arc, and when you get to your arc, you are simply going to come. When you get to your arc, you're simply going to come down to join this like so. Now you're going to lightly fill this in. right? So I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate this on this other side. Do this. It's easier when you're drawing the first brow, because when you're drawing the first brow, whatever it is that you have in mind for your brow is what you're going to draw. Now when you're drawing the second brow, it's more difficult because you have to make sure that you are now trying to duplicate this here. So you make sure you're always looking at this one to know exactly what you did on the other side, right? So we've gotten to our arc, and we're simply going to take our hands out. Okay, this is where the brow ends, right? So get to your arc, right? And then you simply come down like so, right? Then fill in with light stroke. Okay, now you're going to use your spoolie. This is your spoolie. I've used it before to brush this front side to give it a natural look, right? My hand is more intense in this on this side. You can easily brush here now very lightly to put the brows in place, and that's good to go. Now when you're done with that, you're going to go ahead to conceal the lower part with a concealer or foundation that is a shade or two shade lighter. We use concealer because concealers are thicker, but if it's foundation that you can find around you, you can still use your foundation to achieve that, right? So a concealer or foundation that is a shade or two shade lighter, not your actual skin color, right? So I'm going to go ahead to use this. I'm going to go ahead. I don't know, this is if you are saying it. I'm going to use this. I have a tray, but it's just faster for me to use the back of my hand. So you're going to do some like this. I'm focusing more on my arc because that is where we want to pronounce, right? You can use your beauty blender for this, your blending brush for this, or simply use your hands like I'm doing. Whatever works for you. My hands is just faster for me. Okay. So that's, you might be wondering why I left this place and this place. You're going to find out soon. So let's go ahead and do the same thing here. I told you that I have naturally unequal brows, so if you're seeing two unequal stuff, I just want to sink this into my skin, right? So besides why I'm doing this. took my hand a little bit far on the other side, but it's fine. Now for the upper part of your brow, you're going to use a concealer or foundation that is your shade of concealer or foundation. Now I already have a little stuff here, so I'm just going to use this darker shade to add to it so that I can get my skin color, right? So let's, good evening now. So you're just going to follow what you've drawn and get your, now your brow should taper to a very thin end. Not maybe, it should taper to a thin end, maybe not very, but it should taper to a thin end. Okay, now this is the reason why we left that part. This is what we'll now do to give it a more natural feel, right? We'll now do this here. Do you get the point? The major place we want to highlight more is your arc, right? So we're going to do the same thing for this other side. So now we're going to do this again. We're going to do this again. And you're going to do this. Right? Then go ahead and blend everything. Okay. So we've come to the end of this class. I don't know. Did you learn anything? So I'm just looking at the mirror and looking and seeing what I did. So now I told you before that my brows are always wilding, right? So let's correct this. No. Yeah. So did you enjoy this video? Did you like it? Was it educative? If it was, please give this video a thumbs up. Of course, share to your friends that may need this video, and subscribe to the channel because there is more of this as we continue, right? And I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.